Hey everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday's MBE Moves Live, where I, John, the host of the show tonight, are going to be discussing hopefully some very interesting topics around the world of Hollywood and entertainment. Right in, as you probably gathered by the thumbnail, is a rather intriguing little question I have been pondering. As a fellow Scotsman myself, it's something that's close to my heart. I'm not a massive James Bond fan, but I've seen enough James Bond movies to know my way around the subject and to know that it's long overdue that we do indeed get another Scottish James Bond actor portraying the role. Now this is coming from Cinema Blend and it's coming from Sam Heughan, a very dashing, very tall, ripped guy who's been in a number of pretty damn good movies, and he's been waxing very lyrically over the last 6 to 10 months, I'd want to say, over the possibility of portraying 1007 James Bond. He says and he believes that it's long overdue, as I do, that we get a Scottish James Bond. The quote, and I will go through reading it because I am absolutely sweating my arse off here. I've just done a weight session and I've ran up here to do this show and I'm rather discombobulated, so I'll give myself a little break here by reading the quote. He says, obviously it's a dream for every actor. I auditioned for it back when they were doing Bond 21, when Daniel Craig was cast in Casino Royale. And I think a lot of actors were seen in the UK, of course. It would be a dream role, and a Scottish Bond. Who doesn't want to see another Scottish Bond? Well, perhaps some people who hate Scottish actors, Scotland, I don't know, perhaps Sam. There will be some people out there who don't want to see a Scottish James Bond. Look, joking aside, there is perhaps a view from the fan base and maybe further afield that perhaps this is a chance for change for James Bond after Daniel Craig hangs up the 007 tag, is it? I don't know what 007 is. I want to say it's a tag, a sort of call sign. Once he hangs that up, once he hangs up the gun, then there's a chance for real change for this franchise, a chance for some diversification. There's been a lot of people, myself included, calling for Idris Elba to perhaps come in and play the role. And I've actually got a little interconnected article which I will batter into, which is going through a number of possibilities for a very new James Bond actor. And they have Idris Elba in there, Idris Elba, whatever you want to call the man. First things first, they have got Sam Heughan, because as I did say, he's been speaking very highly about the prospects and chances of playing the character. And look, I wouldn't be adverse to Sam, as I did say, quite a tall guy, 6'2", he's got the physique for it. He's a great actor, he's prim and proper, he could play the polished undercover agent, James Bond, whatever the hell. Is he an undercover agent? Again, I'm sure my lack of knowledge for James Bond, I'm a casual fan. He's a sort of agent, yeah, agent of the state, I want to say. They are suggesting Michael B. Jordan could be a possibility as well. I love Michael, I really do, I think he's a great actor, and I think there's no end to what the man can do in any role, but playing an Englishman, I'm aware that perhaps 007 doesn't have to be English. James Bond perhaps could be from any country, but in actual fact, I've actually forgot to put the graphic up as well. I'm getting so interested and so enveloped in the subject, I forgot to put the goddamn graphic up, but it's there now. I suppose he could be any nationality, but I would myself prefer it to be British-centric, so that would rule out Michael B. Jordan in my own personal opinion. We have got Sam Heughan, as I did say. We've got Michael Fassbender. He's technically not British. He is Irish of German descent. He can do a magnificent English accent, though. We've seen that in Glorious Bastards. He is a very good actor. He's a possibility. Daniel Craig will not be coming back again. This article is from May. He will not be coming back to portray the role again. Lashana Lynch, I think it's been confirmed, if I am not wrong, that by the producers, in actual fact, that they will not be pursuing a female James Bond at this stage. We won't be having a Jeanette Bond, some other female name beginning with J. If you're watching me have a nervous breakdown here after doing weights and try to do a live show, perhaps you can comment a more, suitable name for a female James Bond in the future, once the horizons broaden up. Richard Madden, though, is the very next name on the list, and I have to say, he's right up there for me with Sam Heughan and my top possibilities, up there with Sam Heughan and Idris Elba. I think he's a magnificent actor. I just watched The Bodyguard not that long ago. I really enjoyed it. They do say he has a jawline, he has a skill set, and he's Scottish. And look, I'd love to see the guy get the role. He looks absolutely fantastic in a tuxedo as well, which seems to be a real necessity for playing James Bond. James Norton's the other one. I'm not going to go through every name in this list. Tom Hardy's in there. I think Tom's been around the block a little bit too much now. I want to see a slightly less used actor. Tom's this generation's sort of Sam Worthington. He's a better Sam Worthington. He's a much better actor. But I don't want Tom. Tom Hiddleston, that's a Tom I perhaps would want. He's a very refined, Eton educated chap. Likeable guy. I see no reason why Tom Hiddleston couldn't play it. But look, I've went off in a complete tangent here. I'll come back into myself before I round up this headline topic, because as I did say, I am not an avid James Bond fan, very casual. I enjoy where the series has went. I was just reading an article very recently how the Jason Bourne franchise almost made James Bond step up. It was becoming boring, a little bit stuffy, and they had to take note of other franchises popping up around, competitors if you like, and they upped their game. Daniel Craig's been a great James Bond, he really has. I enjoy him as an actor as well. We've seen it with Benoit Blanc, I want to say, in Knives Out, his versatility. It's going to be a sad day when he does hang up the 007 namesake and the gun, but I'm sure we have got a wide array of goddamn amazing actors ready to step in. But do I think the next James Bond should be Scottish? Absolutely, I do think he should be Scottish. If they can't get Idris in and they can't diversify the role to a reasonable degree, then look, don't bother diversifying the role. Just go back and do a Connery from way back in the 60s. Sean Connery is the all-time James Bond, still for me, in my opinion. And going back to the roots of the character and giving us a Scottish version of it, that's something I am very much on board for. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to the very next topic. It's another one which I'm slightly on board for. When you see the actual topic itself, and if you've been watching me for longer than 5 minutes, then you will understand I am not a man who is a fan of the royal family over here in the United Kingdom. You could probably tell that by my hat. I'm not a monarchist by any means, but this is an interesting story. We have seen the monarchy explored in a myriad of different ways over the last decade, maybe more. The Crown's the most recent one. It's an amazing TV show. I've said before, it says it there. Not a fan of the monarchy, but I really did enjoy The Crown and some of the directions of that TV show has been going and has went in past tense as well. We've also seen the one, Helen Mirren, I can't recall the name of it at the moment, where she played the Queen. She won an Academy Award for her portrayal. So I guess what I'm saying is it's ripe. If the story is there and the director is there and they get the casting just right, this is a genre and a time period which has much love in certain demographics, if not mine, and it could potentially be a massive movie. And they have cast Kristen Stewart in the role, and of course I'm talking about this upcoming Spencer movie, which is of course going to be tracking the sort of early 90s period of one Princess Diana, Princess Spencer, I want to say. Diana Spencer, I should say, and it's been created by, and look, I says there, if they get the writers correct and they get the script right and they get obviously the directors right, then it could be a massive success. And they have got an absolutely fantastic scriptwriter on board, Stephen Knight, a man who has scripted much of Peaky Blinders. He is the creator of Peaky Blinders, a TV show that I am transfixed by. The quality of this, if you haven't seen it, is just mind-bending for a BBC TV show. British Broadcasting Corporation TV show, if you're not from the United Kingdom. It is mind-blowing what he has managed to accomplish with the likes of Cillian Murphy. He's got an Adrian Brody. Most recently, he had Sam Claflin in for the 4th season, where he was playing what was he called again? Oscar Mosley, an infamous fascist sort of guy popping up in Britain in the 1930s. He's created magic with the scripts in this TV show. He's allowed it to be invigorating. It's fresh every season. It's not going stale. I really enjoy it. I love the performances he gets. If this can be replicated in this upcoming Spencer movie, a man again who knows how to tackle some interesting themes. He's touched on the IRA and he's touched on, is it the IRA? I think it is the IRA, yeah. At the last season there was some IRA stuff, the sectarian issues. He's touched on obviously the Northern Ireland troubles in general. So he knows how to do some sticky time periods in history. And I presume they're saying it's set in the early 1990s, but if you're doing a movie about Princess Diana, it would feel like a missed opportunity if you don't somehow allow this to blend into 98, I think it was, when she was also tragically killed in that car crash in Paris. You'd be missing an opportunity if you don't set this throughout the 1990s. At this point, I think she was already very much troubled. The relationship was on the rocks with Prince Charles. She was getting out with other individuals and whatnot. She was rebelling against the royal family. So it is a very interesting time period. Really interesting person as well, I have to say, what she did for humanitarian issues and whatnot. And she has raised a couple of really good young guys, I have to say, in terms of Prince Harry and William. I'm not a fan of the monarchy, but they seem like level-headed, round-headed guys. So, look, Kristen Stewart, she's a great actor. I don't know much about her roles, I can't lie, but I do know she is a pretty damn accomplished actor from the little roles I have seen. And he seems to be waxing lyrically. He says that we decided to go into a story about identity around a woman who decides somehow not to be queen. She's a woman who, in the journey of the movie, decides and realises that she wants to be the woman she was before she met Charles. Not surprisingly, because he was hooring it and touring it with just about everybody, including that old ragged boot. Can't really say that, but I'm saying that. And he says, Kristen can be many things. She can be mysterious and very fragile, and ultimately very strong as well, which is what we need. So he's waxing lyrically. He thinks she's the perfect role. She can do anything. I have to say, I agree, and the likeness is there, and the story seems to be there. And I'm very, very intrigued by what the hell we're going to get here. We're not going to mention the likes of the Netflix royal drama, The Crown. So as I have said, it's something that's been done time and time again in recent years. There's a zest for it. We've seen Downton Abbey as well. Sort of period, upper class English drama, and people seem to be connected with it in the drove. So it will probably be an out-and-out success. And look, I hope it is for all involved, because it's history, and I like watching movies, and I probably won't watch it if it's halfway decent. But look, guys, we're going to move on. I've not got much more to say about Diana Spencer and her turbulent relationships with the monarchy. I don't care about it, so I'm moving on swiftly to a topic which I care a little bit more about. I do love Kevin Bacon. He's a pretty damn good actor, and I did watch the trailer for this upcoming movie. You should, what the hell is it called? You Should Have Left. I forgot the movie name. That's absolutely disgraceful. I'm excited about this movie. No joking aside, it's a very, very intriguing looking horror. They are saying it's lying somewhere between What Lies Beneath and Stir of Echoes. And it just looked creepy from the trailers. Kevin Bacon looked perfectly cast in the role. I know he's collaborating once again with David Coype, who did work with on Stir of Echoes. And Coype has been coming out and speaking about why this movie going to VOD is perhaps not the worst thing, it could be the best thing for the movie. It's a very, very long quote, so I will do my absolute best to paraphrase it heavily. He says that the movie, he didn't know if the movie was always going to be destined for theatre. Ultimately, he would have loved it to have went to theatre, because that is the dream of every director. They want to see a movie that they've poured their heart, blood, tears, sweat, everything into, be seen on the silver screen with as many eyeballs as possible. But he is a realist, and he came to a common agreement with Blumhouse and Universal once the whole COVID-19 thing came out, and they agreed that, look, perhaps the best thing for this movie's ultimate success was to put it straight to VOD, $20 rental, I presume. And he's then went on to go on and speak in great depth about the situation with cinema in 2020, and perhaps in the most recent years, and look, probably going forward as well, it'll get even worse. And it's really difficult for lower budget movies to fight and vie for attention in a theatre with $150 and $200 million and $300 million Marvel movies, DC movies, and Star Wars movies. Jim Cameron's about to absolutely unleash Avatar on us again over the course of the next 5 years or so. And he's a realist, and he says, look, you're fighting for a tiny sliver of audiences, which might be yours. I just didn't want to get crushed, so when this came as an option and a possible new way for them to debut movies, I was really thrilled. And look, I agree. I think this is the perfect place for this movie. This movie would have been lost. I don't know when it was set to come out. I presume fairly recently, because it is going to VOD within the next week, I think, in actual fact, if it's not already out. And it would have been lost, man. Tenet's coming out, we've got Mulan coming out, we've got a whole array of movies, big movies coming out towards the end of this year, the likes of James Bond, No Time to Die. A whole array of movies are coming out, man. And it would have been swallowed up. No one would have watched it. It would have ultimately have been a box office flop, a lemon. sound of it, that's a shame. I'll have to perhaps then cancel the show then on that note, and hopefully get it back on at some point, or maybe not. And if I can get it back on, I'll get it back on. That's a shame. I'll be back very, very shortly indeed, guys, if that is the case. Hello, hello, I'm quickly doing a short little test here. This is an absolute shambles. I've been informed in the chat that the sound is lagging. I am endeavouring to try and sort it out mid-stream. I don't know if I will have to cancel the stream at this stage, but I am going to do a little test because I know I'm behind here, and I'll actually pop the stream on and see if it's working. I'll be back very, very shortly if it's working. Hello everybody and welcome back. I have tested the sound out there and hopefully it is sorted out. I don't know what is going on with our sound just now. It's doing my napper in. But look, I will quickly get back into it and I'll try and round this show up in short shrift because the sound will end up going again. But look, as I was saying, I think this is the correct course of action. David Coype is completely correct. And I feel like this is just going to be the direction that cinema is heading off into now in the future post-COVID. Big box blister releases and event movies like Nolan's and obviously Denis Villeneuve and whatnot will all be getting their sizable runs in the theatres, getting a big blockbuster sort of box office earnings in, and these smaller to mid-range movies will vie for attention, but most will go straight to VOD. And look, I'm going to watch a movie, I'm excited for it. I'm sure me and Stephen will ultimately start reviewing movies again fairly soon. Well, we're doing The Five Blood on Friday, that's a new release on Netflix. And if we see this, then I'm sure we will be reviewing that as well. But look, guys, I'm going to move on to the next topic. And this one is a slightly more interesting topic. Well, that's harsh. I'm being harsh on David Coype and Kevin Bacon. It's a similarly interesting topic for me. This one's all about James Gray's new movie. Of course, James Gray of Ad Astra fame, most recently. A movie which I went to see on opening night. Really, really, really enjoyed it. I liked the heart and the humanity that was in that movie. I enjoyed Brad Pitt's performance. I enjoyed a grizzled, wizened, slightly maniacal Tommy Lee Jones at the end. And I loved the ponderance and the existentialism that was just popping up for perhaps the whole second half of the movie. So this is a man who certainly knows how to make good movies. This is a man who certainly knows how to utilise pretty damn good casts. And it's a story which is at the heart of the man's very soul, because it is in part based upon his childhood. But look at the cast that this man has assembled. Cate Blanchett is joined. She's going to be joining Robert De Niro, Oscar Isaac, Anne Hathaway, and Donald Sutherland, the great Donald Sutherland. What a cast! And again, what a concept. It's going to recount his 1980s upbringing in Queens borough of New York. spent time at a privately educated school, which has gave rise to the likes of Donald Trump and Hank Azaria of Simpsons fame. It's going to revolve around the headmaster of the school, and I presume just the inspiration that he's imbued into one James Gray. I'm intrigued by it, man. I like the concept of the story. As I did say, I really like James Gray as well. He's a fantastic director. He's a really impassioned guy. He goes all out to give fans of film, of his films in general, a real experience. I mean, the attention to detail he went into with Ad Astra, working in conjunction with NASA, astronauts and scientists and whatnot, to make it the most realistic movie possible. And again, just the way that he framed Brad Pitt and his isolation in that movie, I can't even begin to imagine where this man is going to take a story based upon his upbringing. I'm saying it's going to be an inspirational story. I sincerely hope that's the case. He's went on to say in a quote that I'm anxious to make something that is very much about people, about human emotions and interactions between people, and I want to be filled with warmth and tenderness. In some sense, yes, it's about my childhood, but an illustration of familial love, really on every level. I'm of the belief that most people do their best and that they try their best under difficult circumstances, and in some sense that's a beautiful thing and very moving to me. So I can't make head nor tail of that, or head nor tail, I'm saying Scottish slang here, because of course I don't know James Gray's upbringing, I don't know about this headmaster, but I'm sure we will find out as this movie continues, as it comes out and I actually go and watch it, which I will do because I love the man, and I'll find out what he means by human emotions and people perhaps trying their best despite slightly failing, being a beautiful thing. I'm excited about it, man, I have to say. And look, I'm going to move on because I've not got much more to add. It was a short little filler topic. Ain't gonna lie, just to keep me talking, because when I'm on my lonesome doing these live streams, there is a great chance of me going down rabbit holes and rabbling off. I nearly did it in the opening topic of this show as well. So I'm going to move on swiftly, guys. Can't wait for it, man. I'll see what the hell is going to happen when it comes out with that amazing cast. But Oscar Isaac, that man is popping up just about everywhere just now. But look, next topic, I've just put it up. It's a speculative topic coming in from MovieWeb, and they are suggesting that a deleted scene from Endgame involving the Ancient One, of course played by Tilda Swinton, and Smart Hulk, could suggest that a Thanos return may indeed be something that could happen in the future. And of course, in this deleted scene, which I have not had the pleasure of watching, she suggests that all of the Avengers and half of the universe which was snapped out of existence in Endgame weren't really dead. They were never dead. They were just willed out of existence. And if you can will someone out of existence, she then further explains to Smart Hulk, you can then will them back, but the price you have to pay is enormous. Now, I've heavily paraphrased that. I do not have the eloquent, dulcet tones of Tilda Swinton, so I do have to apologise there. I may have butchered the quote somewhat, but to be quite frank, it's down the bottom of this article, and I don't want to look at it, because I've already read it. So, the theory itself I'm going to get into, and I'm going to break down, hopefully clinically, why this should not happen. It's an interesting idea. And of course, if they set up all of the various different new heroes, the likes of the X-Men, the Mutants, Fantastic Four, the Eternals, Shang-Chi, all of these characters all get set up and they all pop and they're all cool, perhaps it may be something, if they get bored and they don't want to utilise a Galactus or something like that at some stage, maybe they could bring Thanos back, Josh Brolin, they could CGI him and make it the return of the big bad, the greatest big bad perhaps in comic book cinema history. It's cinematic history. Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm getting discounted. Look, I says it before I started the show. I've done weights before I came on here. It was a bad mistake. It's not the mindset you want to begin into when you're doing a movie news show. But why should this not happen? Well, for me, this should not happen because it shites all over the top of Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark character. The amazingly beautiful arc which transcended 11 years of filmmaking, 11 years of blood, sweat and tears. This was a selfish character at the start of the story, a man who wouldn't part with a fart, as we say over here. And by the end, he's sacrificing his young daughter, the chance of being with her, family life, his own happiness, his own existence, to save half of the universe and people who he perhaps briefly knew and some which he knew very well. That was an act of complete selflessness which cannot be tarnished in any way. It's why a lot of people were calling, including many of his co-workers and actors, for the man to have an Oscar. A nomination, not an Oscar. He was never getting it. But a nomination for an Oscar. Because of the meaning, the power behind that act at the end of Endgame. They cannot retcon that move and bring back Thanos. They just can't. It'd be wrong. As much as I love Josh Brolin and I really enjoyed Thanos, I hated him in Endgame. I just wish he went away and stopped being an annoying shit when he was breaking Captain America's shield and slapping Fat Thor about, and I'm like, just die, you strange purple-headed sort of Play-Doh CGI git. That's the best I can come up with. We try not to swear on this channel. I could have said something else. But as much as I love him and as much as I hated him, he can't come back, man. He's gone, and it's for the best. Marvel, the final thing I'll add, Marvel have, the MCU I should say, not Marvel, have had a lot of shit about bringing back various different characters which were killed off. Fake deaths and how it lets down the fan base. Nothing has stakes. There's no emotional sort of linchpin in these stories because anyone who's gone can just come back. And if they do that, then look, it just shits over all of the Infinity Saga, and for me it's completely wrong. But it's interesting to see Tilda Swinton's character, the Ancient One, imparting some wisdom once again, and it could have meaning for perhaps other characters which were willed out of existence. Maybe they'll come back, lesser characters. It's members of the Black Order, I think they were called, Dark Order. But not Thanos, not for me. But look guys, I'm going to end on a really, really exciting note for me. I'm hoping I've got these numbers right. I've not got them right. We've got James Gray's graphic back up. I need to get a Stream Deck dock where I can macro things a little bit easier. But this final topic is one very close to my heart, one that excites me greatly. As a man who has loved Star Wars for much of his existence, speaking about existence and existential questions and whatnot, I've been a big fan of Star Wars, the original ones that is, and perhaps to a degree the prequels too, since I was about 4 or 5 years of age. But I have never had the opportunity to go and see the original trilogy in the theatres. I never got to go along and watch the 1997 special edition re-releases in the theatres. I know Stephen was lucky enough to go and see them. In this article, I didn't even know this was happening, but I read it and I got a little jolt of happiness in the middle of my stomach, in my very core. The Empire Strikes Back is the first Star Wars movie made, restorated in 4K to be re-released in theatres. I mean, I'm reading it, and even now I'm not taking it in that this could be something that's happening as early as next month. And as a man who's had coronavirus, I feel like I need that little bit of happiness in my life. I've earned it. I'm going to go back and watch this movie. I have to watch it in theatres. I'm just so excited to see that goddamn moment where Luke finds out his father is Darth Julius Vader. I'm so excited to see the likes of Lando and Boba Fett and Cloud City, and that incredible scene at the end when Vader is vanquished. Is that the right word? Vanquished? Yeah, vanquished I'm going to go with. When the R2 allows the Falcon to go off into hyperspace. And that amazing little tender moment when Vader turns around and walks down the walkway out of the doors, and the music, John Williams. It's so an amazing an experience as a Star Wars fan to watch these things on a relatively big TV screen or set, but to actually have the opportunity to go to the theatres and experience something like this, it would be a truly incredible thing for me. And I just cannot wait to perhaps slip into a theatre somewhere here in Glasgow and give this a bash, man. It's very, very exciting indeed, guys. But I am going to round up the show on that note. I haven't got much more to add. I'm starting to slur my words and say, I think I said dies there instead of guys, so that's the time to get out. So I'm going to pass some of these little topics over to anyone who's perhaps intrigued in watching this shit show with the audio issues in the middle and whatnot. What is your thoughts on the concept of a Scottish James Bond? Is that something you want to see? Do you agree with Sam Heughan? Should he get the gig? Should Richard Madden get the gig? Should they completely forgo Scottish actors playing James Bond ever again? Bring in Michael B. Jordan, Idris Elba, Tom Hiddleston? What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on Kristen Stewart portraying Princess Diana in the upcoming Spencer biopic movie? What do you make about the Kevin Bacon movie going straight to VOD and all of the other topics I spoke about? Are you going to go and see Empire Strikes Back 4K in the theatres next month? With a mask, without a mask, if you had coronavirus? If you have anything to say at all, you can comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this in the future. And if you do, then you'll see me back tomorrow with Stephen doing a joint live movie news show, and on Friday for our review of The Five Bloods. I shall see you then, guys, if you subscribe.